These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Those words are as true today as they were in the American Revolution.
When you penned those words in your pamphlet, they became the war cry of the rebels wishing to throw off the shackles of British rule. It's about time that America realizes that the first American Revolution did not free us from the Brits. We fought, and many of our fellow patriots died for declaring freedom from King George. But Thomas, when I look around, I see another George. This George started a purple revolution by meddling in the presidential election. George Soros has spent billions to place non-Americans and anti-Americans in the White House. One George looks like the other to me.
Today's battle for freedom of speech and truth in the media is as fierce as it was then. I left England because of the illogical political idea that a king or queen is more connected to God than the common person is. The divine right of kings is sheer nonsense. My pamphlet, Common Sense, was first named Plain Truth. Plain truth is what was missing then and is still missing today. And common sense can hardly be found in the post-truth age of political theater.
Thomas Paine. Your words were read from the pulpit of most churches, and soldiers read your words aloud to kindle bravery and strength to fight British tyranny. It was the content of your words that helped win the war, the power of the media that is supposed to help the common person be informed about their rights and be the rallying point around which tyranny can be foiled. A similar impulse led me to create an American flag from 13 stars, united in an unbroken circle. The power of that flag declared American freedom from tyranny in England, Holland, Germany, France, and many other countries. And we do not need monarchs or a tyrannical federal government to control our lives. A constitutional republic, democratic freedoms and liberties. In America, we believe in the divine, unalienable rights given to us by God, not a monarch.
Well said. That is what we fought for. Many loyalists who wanted King George to continue the despotic rule are still active today. They also use the same methods of information dissemination that we developed in 1775, except that now propaganda is legal to use on American citizens. The existing administration has legal standing to consider every American a possible war actor. Patriots are made to be possible enemies, who the government propagandizes to instill compliance in the brainwashed citizens who often believe the tyrannical lies of the globalists who wish to destroy America's national pride. The fake news mainstream media is no different than the monarch's privy council of aristocrats. The only difference I see is that earlier the enemy was the monarchy, and now the enemy is the globalists' attempt to destroy America and fleece the common citizen by corporate aristocracy.
Well, the British imperialists started this program of deceit and brainwashing with Cecil Rhodes, who picked up where the British East India Company left off. It was the British and Dutch East India Companies that fought over America. The British controlled the North and the industries that supplied England, while the Dutch brought the slaves to the South for agricultural development. The Dutch East India Company fought for control of the spice trades and later devolved into slave trade. Eventually, England and Holland competed to be the largest slave traders in the world. These corporations were the original globalists who have turned into the United Nations, the Crown Agents, British Serco, and the American version of federal aristocracy called the Senior Executive Service and the Inns of Court, the U.S. so-called justice system. Cecil Rhodes and his student Alfred Milner used South Africa and the Transvaal as a corporate experiment to fleece Africa of its gold, diamonds, and slaves, funded by the Rothschilds. They also used the Burroughs Wellcome Drug Company to experiment with vaccines and inoculations that killed more people than they healed. Those experiments are still going on by corporations and the rich elite aristocracy who wish to reduce the population of the earth. The British demonized Germany to foment war so that the pharmaceutical patents and trade secrets could be captured by the British. This is the same type of tactics used against America from the beginning, and it still goes on to this day, Thomas.
The new revolution is not just political. It is also a battle to win freedom in our own bloodstream, which is being assaulted by vaccines, inoculations, flu shots, and pharmaceutical drugs that kill as many people as they heal. I can hardly see a difference between the globalist attack on America with fake news, fake drugs, fake food, fake history, and fake globalist principles that want to turn America into a military arm of the United Nations. And don't forget that the most vehement globalists are British, like Lord Mark Malloch Brown or Geoffrey Patty.
The current attacks on President Donald Trump come from British Crown agents. Christopher Steele, Richard Dearlove, Stephen Halper, Arvinder Sambai, Alison Saunders, Andrew Wood, Robert Hannigan, Joseph Mifsud, Stephen Rowe, and many others. These British spies were acting under the auspices of the Five Eyes Intelligence Agreement, which gives the Brits every speck of our collected intelligence. Then the Brits use it against us and continue to undermine American independence. The British monarchy has never gotten over losing America as a colony. The Cecil Rhodes Round Table turned into the Pilgrim Society, and most every globalist in Britain and America are members. Rhodes Round Table group also evolved into the Milner Round Table, and it eventually became the Royal Institute for International Affairs. In America, the Round Table Group became the Council on Foreign Relations, which, until recently, determined American foreign policy. And yes, almost every member of the Council of Foreign Relations is a member of the Pilgrim Society. It would be fair to say that all members of the Pilgrim Society are still British loyalists, essentially globalists, who are clearly anti-Americans. In my opinion, we should consider every member of the Pilgrim Society an American traitor who is seditiously attempting the overthrow of America. And Thomas, the Pilgrim Society needs to be designated as a terrorist organization.
Well, Betsy, you're so right, and it is certainly long past time to kick out all British corporations from America, end our Five Eyes Intelligence Agreement, disallow dual citizenship between America and Britain, or for that matter, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. We should also have as little to do with trade and economy between the United Kingdom and America as possible. Just say no to the British monarch and finally end the first American Revolution.
I won't be happy until every British agent is rooted out and prosecuted. This is treason and espionage. They are truly our enemies, Thomas.
In our day, Betsy, traitors were hung. And this was a good deterrent for those considering sedition and overthrowing the government. But fake justice and a legal and fake peerage system given to lawyers and judges who believe they are American aristocrats, when you add together all the crooked courts, the banks, the media, big pharmaceuticals, and the corruptocrats, you realize that the Brits are everywhere, that the first American Revolution is not over, and the current attempt to overthrow our duly elected president is still going on and being led by the British.
Well, frankly, I need to see William Barr doing something. That Department of Injustice of his needs to indict somebody. I want to see Bill and Hillary indicted, James Comey, Andrew McCabe, George Soros, Christopher Steele, Bruce and Nellie Orr, the Strzok and Lisa Page lover team, John Kerry. For heaven's sakes, when are you going to indict someone in this cesspool we call the swamp? Bill and Hillary Clinton are flat-out Chinese communists. We have all seen the lies, corruption, and attempt to cover up aristocratic crime. A two-tiered law and order system, I tell you, Thomas, while putting the common people like us patriots out here in jail. When, Thomas, are we going to see the freedoms we fought for in the first American Revolution?
Just after the American Revolution, the British tried again and again to gain control of America through establishing national banks and central banks, one after the other, until the British created a permanent U.S. Federal Reserve System to enslave Americans. in odious debt held by the British, the Dutch, and the German bankers. It was in 1913, when the British system of economic controls was put into place, that America became the debt slaves of Britain.
Yeah, but that's easily solved. I mean, who out here doesn't know that the Federal Reserve is a private corporation and it simply must go bankrupt? Frankly, it's in the business to print money. It hasn't done a very good job. Let it go bankrupt. We, the people, refuse to pay our European landlords the imaginary debt they have created for us. The U.S. Treasury does not need foreign influence and the Federal Reserve fleecing every American to pay off some imaginary war debt with an interest rate that can never be paid. And while we're at it, get rid of the IRS. We don't need those henchmen coming and collecting their toll for the Queen. It is shocking to me that so many Americans do not know that there does not need to be a Federal Reserve system owned by foreign central bankers. We don't owe the Fed one penny. Just like we never owed Britain a single penny in tax from the colonies. We don't need them, they need us. And it's time not to help the Brits in a bilateral trade deal. We should simply let the British monarch and globalist government die of its own self-induced wounds. And we need, Thomas, we desperately need now, in this time, to finish the American Revolution.
Please remember that when we say that the British are not our friends, we're talking about the British system and the Commonwealth, the United Kingdom, and the monarchy, and the elitists who create the Privy Council, and the elitists in the City of London who control Fleet Street, who basically control the banks, media, and the courts. So really, we in America as citizens need to stand up and say we are not British subjects. We are free American citizens.